Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter @ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/ScottPGallagher.
And these are in listen-only mode.
Hey, well, good afternoon, everyone. Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source, bringing you our weekly local marketing industry update. Now, next week's LMS member call is going to be Wednesday, the 23rd of November at 4 p.m. Central or 5 p.m. Eastern. Now, this week we've got some, there was a great question that was put out there, and I thought that I would answer this question to the public audience at the beginning of the call prior than getting to the end, because it's a fantastic question and it's fairly in depth. There's a little bit to talk about it. It's regards to pricing for SEO services. So whether you own a small business or you own an agency, this is a relevant question and some of the things to be looking for. We're also going to have a little bit of a talk about some new testing that Google is doing with the local pack, and something that we talked about 3 months ago or so called advanced verification in regards to it, and what we're likely going to see. Other than that, there really isn't a lot of updates this week, and so but this is enough information to cover. We've got quite a bit going on. Now, anybody that's new that's on the line right now, just go ahead and raise your hand or type a question into the question box, and I will get to it at the end of the call. And I also want to point out, please let me know how the audio is. Anybody that's listening live right now, just type into the question box if the audio is all right. I got some new equipment and I haven't tested the equipment. This is my test. So I see all the levels are okay. But it is a wireless lavalier microphone, and I want to ensure that there's no issues. So just go ahead and let me know what you think if there's any problems. I'm just going to go and check the audio again, and yeah, everything seems to be good. Good. All right. So let's get going here, folks. Let me just open up my question box, my attendee list. Now, Paul Burkett asked the question in the private member Facebook group, and he said, my biggest struggle is what to charge, especially in regards to SEO. How do you guys charge for SEO? Do you have packages with, if so, how many keywords or how many keywords for X amount? Does your rate depend on when the client wants to target? I guess that's supposed to say where. Example, local compared to nationally. And what do you charge, if you don't mind me asking? Also, anyone else in the United Kingdom? Well, this is not a United Kingdom question, a Canada question, or a United States. It really doesn't matter where you are on the planet now. Rather than me typing out and responding to Paul, I thought I would answer it on this call, because there's quite a bit that really does need to be discussed and covered in regards to pricing, and ultimately what we're talking about here is a business-to-business service and pricing that business-to-business service. So let's talk a little bit about the fundamentals and the history of pricing. And really, back in my day, they taught that there was 7 different pricing models. I'm not going to go over all those pricing models. I've got a video inside the LMS portal, for members. That's a video specifically on pricing, and it covers all of those, all 7 of those pricing models. But an example is going to be cost plus, where you as a business want to have a margin of, say, 30 or 40 points, and your price is going to be based off of the cost of the service plus your margin. Now, in our case, I run roughly 30 to 40 points in margin. So my costs are going to be between 500 and 600 bucks a month. Now, that's both a fixed allocation and a variable allocation provided to that. My margins are going to be 300 to 400 bucks per client if I'm charging $1,000 per month. We put in roughly 40 man hours per month into each client. And, you could start to work the math backwards in terms of how much you can afford on an hourly salary or how much you want to make in that particular fashion. Another pricing model is based off of value, perceived value. And here's a statement that it's near and dear to my heart. I learned it about 20 years ago when I was in B2B sales, and it stuck with me. And it is so true with anything that we buy. And as buyers, whether it's a consumer or a business, we don't buy a product or a service. We buy a state. And a state is an anticipated feeling that we're going to get from that product or service. Think about this. We don't buy a product or service, we buy a state. And a state is an anticipated feeling that we're going to get from this product or service. So we anticipate a feeling that we're going to receive from whatever we are purchasing. So search engine optimization as a service that we're providing, what are some of the feelings that our buyers are going to get? Hang on. Oh my God, I got my puppy in my office and she was just chewing on a golf ball and had her head way up in the air. And now she's running away from me, little bugger. So an anticipated feeling from SEO is going to be a feeling of perhaps relief that sales are going to go back up, or excitement or joy, different elements of somebody growing their business and whatnot. Hang on. So my office, I allow animals to come into it, and there's a price that you pay with it, with the other tenants and doing business calls and whatnot. Not once have I, ever heard, the elements of unprofessionalism or whatnot. But even if I did, those aren't people that I want to do business with. Being able to have my animal in the workplace is extremely important to me every day. So. I do want to apologize, but if you don't like it, then I'm sorry. We're not meant to be together. All right. So an anticipated feeling from SEO. So pricing. Getting back to pricing, and in terms of feelings, it's a perceived feeling. Now think about two products. We're going to take a BMW and a Kia. They're both automobiles. They both have the fundamentals of what makes an automobile an automobile: 4 tires, a steering wheel, gas pedal, windshield wipers, stereo. Stereo is not necessarily a necessity, but these are both automobiles, and the profit margins between the two companies are vastly different. And why is somebody going to spend 4 or 5 times the amount of money on an identical product? Okay, granted, maybe the BMW is a little bit better engineered, and maybe the BMW is going to last you 30% longer in terms of mileage before you got to get a repair or whatnot. But it surely is not going to last 4 times as long, and you're surely not going to get 4 times the value out of it when you're looking at a $15,000 vehicle to $60,000 or whatever numbers we want to do. My point is the person driving a BMW has a different feeling than the person driving the Kia. And it's BMW or Mercedes or these high-end car manufacturers that sell their high-value products to the consumers that have much higher margins. When you take Ford, their most profitable vehicle is the Crown Vic. but they don't sell nearly as many of those as they would of the old Escorts, whatever they're selling now. I don't even know if they still make the Crown Vics. But the point is the margins were significantly different. They didn't price their products based off of margin plus or cost plus. They priced their products based off of consumer perception. So consumer perception or business buyer perception is the perceived value that they're going to receive. So that's a third methodology for pricing. And now let me handle it in regards to SEO and some small businesses that are out there. That if I'm doing SEO for a dentist, forget about the costs. So for a restaurant, let me start with a restaurant. And forget about the cost for me to deliver the service. When I deliver the service, my goal is to get you ranked number one. So I'm going to do what it takes to get you number one. If it's 1 hour worth of work or 40 hours worth of work, I'm committed to getting you number one based off the proposal and the expectations. So we're gonna work towards that. And restaurant A, I could deliver the services for. And when we're delivering the services, if we're getting 15 to 20 profiles a month, we're implementing the RAP system. We're doing on the page factors and creating 1 or 2 articles a month and distributing it to a local publication. That's really what it takes to get our clients above the others. It just comes down to the amount of activity, and that's relatively a good amount of activity. And so if we're doing that for a restaurant versus a dentist, let's look at their customer value on an annual basis, because our clients as business owners want to see an ROI, return on investment. And so a restaurant operates at about 20% profit margin, sometimes even lower. Sometimes it's 10%. Which means that they've got to, if they brought in $10,000 in new business, okay, they would make about $2,000 profit. So if that's the scenario and I've got to charge about $1,000 a month for my services or more, then I've got to generate for them a bare minimum of $5,000 a month in new business every single month after month, and that's just going to get them to a break-even point. Now, to generate $5,000 in new business for a particular restaurant through search, let's face it, if it's a Mexican restaurant's going to be your top keyword, not places to eat. You see where I'm going with this? When you're talking a community that's got a restaurant's got a service area of approximately 5 miles, and you've got to generate $5,000 in new business, I don't think that there's $5,000 worth of Mexican restaurant searches within 5 miles of my current location. How many new meals does $5,000 have to be? At an average price of 5 meals, or $50 even, $5,000 is 50, right? Am I doing my math right? It's 50 new customers. That's, families a day, not new customers. That would be about 4 customers for that price point at a Mexican restaurant. So that's 10. They're having to bring in 10 new customers a day just based off of searches. I'm really not too sure that that's feasible. But when we take a dentist, on the other hand, and we know that a dental profit margin is anywhere from 40 to 70%, we can safely assume 50%. So for every $1,000 that is brought into the business, they're making, let's say, $500 profit. So $500 profit means that I need to bring in 2 patients in a month. 2 patients in a month in order for them to justify their return on investment at $1,000. I know it's easy to bring in 2 to 3 patients a week. So when you do the math, I could easily command and charge $2,000 a month for a dentist in my current geographical area and they would absolutely get the return on investment, and I wouldn't be stressing myself out. Whereas with a restaurant, it's the other way around. So if I were to go and target a restaurant, the restaurant industry, my whole business model would have to be different than what it is today. My business model exists because it feels like for us, this is the right way, the right things to do to get our clients listed number one. There's no cookie cutter platform. There's no simple little process. There's no automation. And we take a tremendous amount of pride in creating that service. So I've got to go after small businesses that are going to get a net return on investment. And I price my services based off of value that we can give them. And that's essentially a third pricing model. If you want to learn more pricing models, you can easily go to the LMS portal, get what you need, and watch that video. It's not a very long one. I probably talked longer now than I have about that video. We don't have packages. And when you talk about keywords, and I'm going to have a discussion about pricing and keywords. You know, there was a time that people would sell packages and say, well, we'll offer you 5 keywords for this price. We'll offer you 10 for this price and 50 keywords for that price. And that's bullshit in our industry. And I'll tell you why I think that that's bullshit, is that when we walk in and we're trying to market a local business, it's, hey, we want to market this business, what this business means. And I'm going to take 2 dentists now as an example, and how me as a marketer is going to be very different based off of 2 businesses that are what we may perceive as the same thing, dentists. They fix teeth. Well, dentist A may be all about sedation and getting you drugged up and alleviating your fears of going to the dentist. And dentist B may have the technology in-house to very quickly straighten teeth and very quickly whiten teeth. In other words, make you feel better about your smile. So their positioning, one removes fear and overcomes that as their positioning in the marketplace, and the other is about enhancing self-esteem. So if I'm creating marketing content, those are 2 very different positioning points to create content. You can't create a piece that's going to bring them both together. You'll just get convoluted and confused in your messaging, whatever an article you're creating, or a particular website or whatnot. And so, granted, both of these have dentist as a keyword, but then dentist A will have variations of sedation, and dentist B will have variations of teeth whitening, and then some of them will have different crowns. Some of them will do just porcelain inlays. Some of them will have brand name searches like Zoom whitening. So the number of keywords is a very restrictive number to work with in this business. What it comes down to, okay, and before I even go further with that we could take those keywords that I showed you, and I can take one keyword like teeth whitening or like even dentist and come up with 15 different combinations and permutations with a geomod and a core modifier into that core term keyword, maybe more than 50, heck, come up with 50. So with my clients, my software is limited to a ranking report of 100 keywords. We'll track 100 keywords all day long. But the average business really only has between 1 and 5 services, core services. If they start going further than that, more services, that business itself is very convoluted. And so those services tend to be our core terms. If you haven't learned about the LMS keyword process, we're very different. We look at keywords from a marketing perspective, identifying the core term, the core modifier, and the geomod, as opposed to utilizing tools that says, hey, the KPI index is this figure, is this number. What the hell does key performance indicator mean anyhow for a keyword? I can go on a long time about that one, and I won't. But it comes down to ensuring that the marketplace understands what this business does. These are your core terms. There's a reason why Google and Yelp and Facebook only allow, up to 5 categories, some of them 10. And then you want to prioritize that, though. You ask the dentist, what's important to you? What are your highest profit margin services that you would rather promote the most? What type of culture do you want to create for your business? And that helps us define, keywords, and then we set up a bunch of combinations and permutations. Now you ask, does your rate depend on where the client wants to target, i.e. locally compared to nationally? Well, it all depends on where the business services. And I can't take a dentist and have them rank for the keyword dentist in San Francisco if they're located in Illinois. Right? Not going to happen. Now, there's more, but let's just say that there are 3 types of results that land on a SERP, a search engine results page. And those 3 types of results are going to be, 1, the paid listings that take up between 20 and 50% of all the real estate above the fold. The next listings are going to be your organic listings. And organic listings rank websites. They rank URLs. They rank web pages. And then the third set of listings are your local listings that rank businesses that have websites attached to them. Now, if Google thinks that you're doing a local search, for example, looking for a dentist, Google is going to embed the local results into that. And these are local businesses. And that's our core competency at LMS that we teach on how to get businesses ranked there. Well, if I go beyond the service area that Google has shown or understands, and service area is defined by both industry and geographical location. So a dentist in Manhattan is going to have a much smaller service area than a dentist in Iowa, just because of population density. So population density is a factor that goes into service area. Well, I started out by saying I can't rank a dentist in San Francisco that is located in Palatine, Illinois, because they're 500 miles or whatever, 1,000 miles apart. The service area for dentists in my area is roughly 5 miles or 8 kilometers. Sometimes it's not even that high. So I can't rank a dentist outside of 5 miles, plain and simple. It can't be done. But now when we're talking about organic listings, and my SEO is priced, 2 major factors that are involved with it. The number of locations. So we charge a bare minimum of $1,000 a month per location. And then the number of service providers within that location. 1, 2, 3, how many doctors do you have? So then there's a charge for each additional doctor. And that's local. Organic SEO, when you're ranking a website, this is a different game. This game here, you can start charging and getting into charging for the number of keywords. And this is something that can be ultimately ranked nationally. But these are e-commerce stores. These are businesses that offer digital products, digital downloads, software, apps, items like that are going to target an industry in a different fashion. So does the rate depend on where the client wants to target? Absolutely. Pricing is based off of that. But again, that's not something that could be put into a box. We got to know a lot more about that particular business that we're working with. Now, most of us here at Local Marketing Source are working with small local businesses that serve a local community. And that's why we can establish certain price points that are relatively the same. So I hope that helps with your pricing question. I'm going to move on to Google testing the new local pack. they are rolling out something called advanced verification. It's being tested in San Diego, California. And what advanced verification is if you were on a call, I'm going to guess 3 months ago, Google started testing something called advanced verification in a couple of cities across America, San Diego being one of them. I know San Francisco was in there. I'd have to go back and look which cities it was, but it's not relevant. But the advanced verification was being tested with both plumbers and locksmiths. And the reason why is because there was a lot of corruption within that industry. There was fake businesses that were getting themselves ranked and going and charging an arm and a leg. I mean, we're talking 10 times the amount of money that needed to be done. You know, if your toilet was backed up, you know, an unscrupulous plumber that got himself ranked in black hat ways. Why is this going off? Would then come to your house and charge you, $1,000 to unback your toilet. Or, I saw a scenario that a locksmith got the deal by charging $43 instead of the more popular company locally that did $65. And when they showed up, they unlocked the car, took the guy's keys, and he signed the invoice. And where he signed, it didn't even have the final price on it. It was on a different page. And it was a $320 charge. It was all these upcharges that were on there. The $43 was the actual service. But it's kind of like electricity. You know, if your electrical bill is $100, there's only about $15 worth of electricity in there. Everything else is all transportation charges and taxes and this and that. And that's how they created that. And so Google, in other words, only wants to show legitimate ethical businesses. And they came and implemented this advanced verification process that one, allows businesses to be verified quicker, but at the same time to determine the legitimacy of these businesses, that they were legitimate registered businesses. And now this seems to be rolling out in San Diego, where there's something called, or our industry is calling it, the home service pack. And with the home service pack is it's showing a different type of local pack and has a green check mark beside it and says Google guaranteed. So it just shows a higher level of verification within the local pack, and it is yet to be rolled out, and it still seems to be only visible in the San Diego area and with only plumbers and locksmiths. I share this with you because this likely looks like it's the way it's going to be of the future, and it's obviously something we're going to want to have to do for all of our clients in the future. I'll definitely let you know when it's relevant from other industries other than plumbing and locksmith. So on that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I will be back in 30 seconds and answer any questions that you might have. See if there's any questions that are out there, guys. No hands that are up. All right. Well, glad to see Efren back on the line. Nice to see you, buddy. Sounds good, man. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this call. get out of here. It's almost dark here now. It's amazing. It's 4:30 and wild. All right. Have a good one, guys. Bye for now. Well, thanks for watching the Local Marketing Industry Update. We've got these things coming out every single week, so if you liked with what you heard, just click the button right above me right here to subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to get a little bit more, right over here, go check out localmarketingsource.com. We've got free reports that you can grab. You can even register for a free marketing course to get in and see the portal. Or just go ahead and follow us on some of the social channels. We'll be around. Until next time.